Did you get the name, Dean?
Samuel Taya. For consideration, he beat guys like Oceanique Foster, Kenneth Sims Jr. He also fought Montana Love to a majority decision loss, but it was a very good fight. I'd just like to have him to consider to be ranked.
Thank you very much.
Kevin Rooney, Matchroom Boxing. I can't see the rest of the ratings. I believe Dalton Smith is at number 20. He's fighting this weekend against Casey Benjamin, defending his British title. We would ask with a win if you'd be considered for a top 15 rating.
Yes, he's 21. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rereaviles de Sanfer. Tenemos un par de peleadores que no aparecen en ninguno de los listados, no están en el top 40 y quisiéramos pedir que los agregaran, que es Carlos Sánchez y David Potrero.
¿David qué, perdón?
Potrero.
Gracias.
Samson Lukowicz from Samson Boxing LLC. I have a petition of two fighters that one of them was in the rating on the name of Michelle Lazar Salih Rivera. Can somebody explain to me why it went out? When it just fought
Michelle Rivera?
Michelle Rivera, yes.
Okay, next please.
No, first I want to know why it was in
We will
and was out.
address everything, what we hear, everything.
The other one is Edwin de los Santos. He just come for a great win in Showtime against Jose Valenzuela. It's not rated. I need an explanation for that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are 35, Samson. He's talking about guys at 35 to 40.
Mr. President, board members, Phil Weiss again from TGB Promotions. I want to start by requesting, I have two specific requests and then an overall discussion as to how things have changed since the last rating. What I'm looking for, number one, was to ask for Lipinets to be moved. He's currently number 9, but to have him moved to number 1, after Zepeda and Prograis fight each other. He's currently the silver champion. He's lost only twice, and the quality of his opponents is really quite unparalleled. Just like the other gentleman mentioned a moment ago, who was talking about percentages of opponents that they fought. I believe that in the last 7 fights, Lipinets' opponents have a winning percentage of something like 93%. So I believe that Lipinets warrants movement up to number 1. The other request concerns Russell, who you have at number 6, and that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about, which was an overall concern I have, and that has to do with Mr. Ramirez being at number 3. With regard to Russell, and I'll get to Mr. Ramirez in a moment, I was going to ask that Russell be moved from 5 to number 2, which is where Russell was last time, number 5. Now he's 6. Regardless, we would ask that he be moved to number 2. He's 16-0, all knockouts. His last 2 fights, he's beaten Barthélemy and Postal, and he's only 26, and I think he is the future of this division. Now, and all this is intertwined with Ramirez, and I think it warrants some discussion, and that's why I wanted to spend a few minutes on it. I understand that at the last ratings, he was dropped to 6 from, I believe it was 2, and that had to deal with a personal matter, that he, where he dropped out or made himself unavailable to fight Zepeda, if I'm not mistaken. Now, when that happened, so I believe that the proper way to look at this is, why was he dropped to 6 when that decision was made, and then what justification is there any for bumping him back up from 6 to 3? And I think we spend most of the day here and we enjoy it, arguing about our fighters, discussing their qualifications, the quality of their opponents, the winning percentages, all the jockeying position. That's what we're all here about. So it becomes very subjective. But I think with regard to the Ramirez situation, we can look at it much more objectively. And that objectivity comes from the decision that the WBC made last time to drop Ramirez from, I believe he was at 2 down to 6. Now at that point in time, the WBC had all the information it needed. It knew that, I guess he was getting married and so he made himself unavailable. And so I think we need to look no further than the decision that the WBC made to drop him to 6. At that point in time, the WBC was empathetic, I'm sure, and supportive of his decision to deal with a personal matter like that and was not critical of him at all. But despite all that, the WBC realized that, just like in most things in life, actions have consequences. So the consequence to him was, okay, we respect your decision to drop out from fighting Zepeda, but there are consequences, and the consequences that you all came up with was that he should drop to 6. So as far as you were concerned, that was deemed appropriate. Now we fast forward to today, and my question would
Attorney,
be,
I think you have made your point clear.
I guess
You're an attorney, correct?
Yes.
I feel like a judge in a courtroom.
Well, to cut to the chase, Your Honor, the only thing that has changed since the last ratings period is the passage of time. And I just don't see how the mere passage of time could ever be a justification for bumping somebody down to 6.
We understand. I think you made your point very clear.
All right. I had a lot more.
On that same topic?
I'll let it go. Thank you.
Anthony Redmond for Eye of the Tiger. First of all, thank you very much for inserting Yves Ulysse Jr. into the top 15. We appreciate this. My second point is regarding Steve Claggett. He's 33-7, and he has been on a winning streak lately. It's not a petition to have him in the top 15, but it's to keep a close eye on him. He will be fighting shortly in what we think is going to be a big fight, and he's not even in the top 40. And I think he should.
He's number 34.
He's number 34.
Yes.
Apologies, but we believe he should be close to the top 20, and to keep an eye on this guy. Thanks.
Thank you.
Samson Lukowitz again. First of all, I want to apologize. Because I thought this the lightweight division, and I didn't see my fight. However, I have my heart of emergency response, and the fall is you for the vodka and the tequila and the wine that you gave me last night. Thank you. So I apologize anyway.
Mr. President, gentlemen, calling you to highly consider this highly decorated amateur along the same lines of what's been discussed or communicated earlier today. Kevin Haile Brown, World Youth Amateur Champion, World Amateur Champion, gold medalist from Cuba. He is turned professional, living out of Las Vegas. I'm here representing him. He's already had 2 professional fights with 2 knockouts. His last fight was for 10 rounds. So looking for a very big consideration for him to make his entry into the top 15.
Thank you, Tony. Is this it? Okay, so we have Salvatore, you're playing. We're hungry.
Salvatore Cherchi, Italia. Mico rappresenta Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin ganó a Mikey García, pluricampeón de 3 categorías, Estados Unidos, en su casa. Estaba número 1 del peso welter del Consejo Mundial. Últimamente peleó con 1.39.5, ganó netamente, sin problemas. Y me lo encuentro una otra vez presidente, número 5. Y yo pienso que esto no es para mí. Contra este chico que está haciendo el boxeo como todos, pero es maltratado toda la vez, encuentro este problema. Si no tenemos mi amistad con usted, no pasa nada con el trabajo. Pero pienso que esta situación la reputo contra Sandor Martin muy mala porque toda la vez tenemos de discutir número 3, número 5, número 2, número 4. No lo comprendo. Si me lo puede explicar usted o aquí por usted. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Salvatore. We have a very active division. So we took from Sara Fina several petitions. Kevin Rooney, he's asking if number 21 wins, he can move to number 15. That will be afterwards. Sanfer gives us 2 names. Samson made a mistake and it's in super lightweight, in lightweight. And we have TGB asking for Lipinets to move to number 1 and Russell to number 2. And he wants an explanation of why Ramirez is number 3. As we all know, Cepeda is number 1 and Prograis is number 2. Cepeda has been mandatory contender for almost 2 years. Prograis won a final elimination bout in Dubai, and they're going to fight for the vacant title because Josh Taylor relinquished his title. Then Cepeda was going to fight Ramirez. Eventually that fight did not take place, and Ramirez was moved down because he did not participate in the process. WBC ordered Cepeda to fight Regis Prograis for the vacant title. The WBC received a formal letter from Ramirez himself and his manager and promoter requesting the WBC to understand his specific situation, a former champion with 7 title defenses, a very active ambassador for the WBC in several instances, and also a fighter who lost against Josh Taylor in a highly competitive fight, has come back and won, and with plans that he had to get married, which he just did, requested the WBC to fight the winner of Cepeda Prograis, and the WBC voted in favor. That was only logic to return him to number 3 and not keeping a number 6 when he's going to be mandatory. So the ranking at number 3 is a reflect from a WBC board voting. I hope this satisfies an explanation.
Yes, it does. I was just, to me, and I think to a lot of people, it looked as if, that perhaps if he was going to make a request to come back up to number 3, then at the time that he was dropped to 6, then he should have made the request. I would like to be dropped no further than 3, because then, frankly, I would have ended my closing argument long ago. But when the drop to 6 occurred, and to my knowledge there was no objection by him, then it seemed to me as an outsider that it wouldn't be, that there was no justification other than the passage of time. And, and then of course it impacts somebody like Russell, who even if you wouldn't put him up to 3, it certainly, as a consequence of this, would drop him from 5 to 6. So thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, thank you. And there's a petition from Salvatore Kerki. He wants an explanation of why Martin is ranked at number 5. Then eventually the Russell case of why he's number 6. They're asking for improvement in both. We have Tonkin Productions, Kevin Brown petition, which will be analyzed. So we'd like to hear about Martin and Russell. Ratings committee, please.
The ratings committee in the prior month had Martin and Russell. We analyzed both fighters. They're similar in records, similar in ability, we thought. They're both quality fighters with no activity. We didn't see why either of them should change.
I'm losing my voice.
I did not understand very well. I'm very sorry.
No, last month we had a 5 and 6. We had a 4 and 5 in October. The only thing changed is that Ramirez went in number 3. So it dropped them from 4 into 5 to 5 and 6.
Okay. We have the vacant championship fight taking place in 2 weeks. That is number 1 and number 2. So that is going to be reflecting the rankings. Is there anyone representing Teofimo Lopez in this room? Don Majeski? You are representing?
Yeah, on behalf of Top Rank, they would be involved with Teofimo. Just what would you request of them to do for you?
I saw somewhere also that Teofimo was named mandatory in the WBO. Right. Is that accurate?
When we do the mandatories, I'll inform you with the position of Lopez, if he is or isn't, and then I think it's a moot point at that. If he's going out there, you get rid of him. If he's not, then we'll discuss him fighting eliminated to fight the winner as his general policy with WBC. But I'll have to find out for them before I give you an answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the division is full of talent. It's one of the best, as well as the lightweight and welterweights, very good. So, Salvatore, Ramírez entró por lo que va a pelear por el título, y tú estás en una posición para que se ordene a Martin contra alguien por una eliminatoria final. No entiendo cuál es tu enojo, pero quieres...
Ti spiego, Presidente. Toda la vez è un'altalena, ¿no? Sabe, es la que no da. Una vez número 2, una vez número 5, una vez número 4. ¿Por qué?
Bueno, ¿por qué? Porque él peleó por el WBA International.
Presidente,
en la última pelea.
¿Me perdonas? Mira la clasifica del WBA. Mira si está en clasificación.
I don't care if the WBA ranks him or not. But you fought for a WBA International on the last fight, and you are coming here to claim something. He's ranked number 5 above fighters that are being very active. Sandor Martin won against Garcia. Mikey Garcia, very good fight. He got ranked.
Estaba número 1 Garcia del WBA del peso welter, Presidente.
Welter.
Sí, claro, mejor ancora, ganó un peso welter, él es superleguero, tenía de ser premiado más, porque ganó uno de la categoría superior, no de una categoría inferior.
¿Cuál es la petición, Salvatore?
Que yo lo quiero número 3, como estaba antes. El mes pasado estaba número 3, ¿por qué lo cambia a número 5?
The petition from Salvatore Kerki
Si no, hacemos, para mí no es un problema. Llegando a este punto, no discuto más de nada. Si está, está. Si no está, adiós. No me interesa.
Salvatore Kerki.
No, miramos de comprender bien. Porque, presidente, tú sabes, número 2, número 4, número 3, número 5. No lo comprendo. No puede ser.
Salvatore, ya expliqué por qué Ramírez regresó al número 3. ¿Entiendes esa explicación?
Yo tengo esa explicación.
¿La entiendes o no? ¿Entiendes por qué Ramírez regresó al número 3? ¿O no lo entiende? Lo explico.
No lo entiendo.
Ok. Ramírez era número 3. Ramírez era número 2. Él iba a pelear contra Cepeda por el campeonato mundial. Cuando se ordena la pelea, él dice, no participo. Al no participar se le puso número 6.
Claro.
Después de que se ordena Cepeda contra Prograis, Ramírez manda una carta oficial al WBC pidiendo consideración a su caso, después de haber sido campeón WBC por muchos años, muchas defensas, y que no pelea porque se va a casar, y ya se casó, y pide que sea el mandatorio contra el ganador, contra el campeón, y la Junta de Gobierno votó a favor, por eso se regresó al número 3.
Presidente, ¿tú te recuerdas que Sandor Martí era número 2?
Perdóname,
no quiero
no
más.
sé.
Presidente, hace lo que quiere. Gracias.
Qué grosero eres, Salvatore, ¿eh? So we keep the division. Is there any explanation on Russell?
We looked at Russell and Martin, and they're both, as you look at the depth of that fighters, again, they're in the same place. It was just a coin flip between them, and we're waiting for activity on either one of them.
Okay, so it is a recommendation that the ratings remain as is.
We had one on Lipinets, I believe, too.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Lipinets. Number 9, he has a request to be moved. TGB, you know, to request from 9 to 3 is going to be very complicated because of what we have been. Would you like to adjust your request for a higher instead of 3? Can you please talk in the microphone?
Well, after spending as much time as I did talking about the other gentleman above, Lipinets, and not wanting to adversely, spend too much time on this. I'm not sure where he compares with 8 or 7, but since we're asking for him to move to 1, then if there's any movement, to even 7 would be greatly appreciated. But I understand based on what's been discussed thus far, I don't seem to have made much headway with regard to the Ramirez discussion. So I think that I can adjust my request that way with regard to Lipinets. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Garcia has not fought in super lightweight, is that correct? He did, last fight was super lightweight?
Javier Fortuna at 140 knocked him out. Very impressive performance.
Okay, Dean, is there anything that you would like to...
No, Lipinets' his body of work. This was a nice win for him. He's our silver champion. We said, but his prior 2 fights to that was a draw with Custio Cleet and a knockout at 6 by Jared Ennis. He's very favorably placed.
Okay, so
is there a motion to...
Excuse me, Mr. President, I apologize, but I might have missed it, but was there a determination that Russell had not fought recently? Because if it was that, then I neglected to mention, I believe that he just fought 2 months ago. So insofar as consideration of inactivity, that's fairly recent.
No,
I might have missed it.
Yeah, it was a misunderstanding.
Okay, thank you.
Both Martin and Russell in the level of activity, so it was a comparison.
Is there a motion to accept the ratings in the division as proposed by the ratings committee? Peter Stuckey makes the motion. Charlie Giles.
Lightweight division, please.
The lightweight division, exactly. Charlie Giles seconds.
Ya, es que ya no íbamos a hacer la motion. Any comments? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Never mind.
Lightweight division. No estás confusando, Antonio.
And here's another cue.
Lightweight division, please.
Okay, number 1, Vasil Lomachenko. Number 2, Isaac Cruz Jr. Number 3, Shakur Stevenson. Number 4, William Cepeda. Number 5, George Cambosos Jr. Number 6, Sushiro Yoshino. Number 7, Jermaine Ortiz. Number 8, Ivan Mendy. Number 9, Michel Rivera. Number 10, Jeremiah Nakatila. Number 11, Joseph Diaz. 12, Edwin de los Santos. Number 13, Maxi Hughes. Number 14, Artem Harutunian. Number 15, Francesco Patera.
Por favor.
Mr. President, well, to bring another exciting fighter to this weight category, we have Lázaro Alvarez from Cuba. 3 times.
That's enough. Lázaro Alvarez.
Sorry, I don't like to sound pretentious, but we have the best Cuban boxers are still in Cuba. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, board members, Daniel Otter, Three Lions Promotions Canada. I'm here with Pedro Bernal, the WBC Youth World Title holder. His record is 10-1-2, but the 2 draws were very controversial. He's never had a promoter, so he's always been on the opposing side. He beat WBC Latino champion, I don't want to butcher the name, Alberto Ruiz Abera. He also beat highly touted American Manuel James, who was 12-0 at the time.
He's ranked number 38.
That's ranked 38. I would like to request number 20, I think.
Okay.
19.
Absolutely. We will look into it. Is this him?
This is him here, and it would be great if we could look into it today. I'd like for him to say a word too, just introduce him to yourself, if I could. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Bueno, licenciado, pues nos vimos aquella vez en el Martes de Café el 4 de mayo y no sabe qué gusto, qué orgullo tengo al tener esto aquí en mi hombro. No sabe, de verdad, yo vengo de ser pues nada y me dedico a esto 100%. Yo no trabajo, yo me dedico a esto, al deporte, y voy a luchar, licenciado. A todas las personas que están presentes, voy a luchar hasta volverme campeón absoluto del Consejo Mundial de Boxeo al lado de mi promotor, Stan Otter, Lions Promotions, y dejaré la empresa y el CMB, el WBC, arriba, en alto. Gracias.
Bienvenido, campeón, que Dios te bendiga y vamos para adelante, echarle muchas ganas.
Samson Lukowicz, whatever I say before, I scratch it. So now
he is number 9.
Number 9, Michel Rivera is fighting actually on December 17. In 135 pounds is such a competitive, but I believe that George Cambosos Jr. is having a lucky night and doesn't deserve to be
Is there a specific petition, Samson?
Yes, I would like to have Michel Rivera in state number 5.
Thank you.
And Edwin
de
los Santos.
Thank you.
Missing one, Edwin de los Santos, to be number 9. Thank you.
Who is Hermín de los Santos?
Number 4.
Number 12, he fought in Showtime and he beat the really contender of Jose
Please,
I'm no longer with Samson Boxing. Just advocating on behalf of George Kambosos to stay at number 5. I think to say that he had a lucky night versus Lopez is overly reductive and unfair. He also beat Lee Selby, he beat Mickey Bay, who is a former champion. He's got a great track record. I think losing 2 fights to Devin Haney is hardly an adverse offense that should be held against him in the rankings. He's already been dropped from 3 to 5 in the most recent rankings, and I think just based on his track record, the magnitude of his biggest wins, I should say, that's as far as he should go. He's still absolutely a top contender in the lightweight division. Thank you.
Any other comments on the lightweight division?
Mr. President, members, Andy Cruz, campeón olímpico 2020 de Tokio, representando a Cuba, y también 2-time gold medalist in the Pan Ams. He's going to be making his professional debut. We'd like him to be seriously considered to enter into the top 30. Thank you.
Request on behalf of a fighter who's a phenomenal talent for the top 40, or at least keep an eye on him. Keyshawn Davis is a former Olympian. He's only had 6 fights, but there are times, as you know, as in the case of a Lomachenko or Mungsarin, you have a phenomenal talent that comes up, and I would appreciate if you can consider him top 40. Thank you.
This is a man who spoke in favor of Devin Haney, of Lennox Lewis, so your honorability and respectability on anything that you propose is always considered done. Thank you. So we have
Mauricio, let's put that one to the bed. We recognize the veracity of Don's request and we rated him number 30. So he's there.
Remove that top 40 request. Remove him to 15. That's it.
Okay, so there's a request from Samson to move Rivera to number 5 and to move number 12 to number 9. So this is 2 things for the ratings committee. We would like to hear your comments, please.
We look at these fighters. These Yoshino and Mendy, Ortiz fought great, almost beat Lomachenko. We rated these fighters on the basis of their careers, their results. We're happy with this. If you look at these people, Kambosos, and Mendy he's defending his European title. I have no problem. I think Rivera Samson knows fighters. He finds fighters. He finds great fighters. And his next fight that you talk about, Samson, he wins that one. We'll make the adjustments that he has. So your question was he should go over Kambosos. I thought we answered that question.
The response is that the Lomachenko, Cruz, Stevenson, Cepeda, Kambosos, Yoshino, Ortiz, Mendy, Rivera, the committee feels, and the committee did not just pick these names. They've been working for the whole year. They met here for